Hi, it's Lauren. I'm a brand ambassador for the Rabbit Hole Designs. Today I am making a card using the Blooming Anemones stamp set, illustrated by Tatiana Zayats. And what I did first was I heat embossed the images onto vellum using the powder tool first, the Cottontail powder tool, embossing powder tool. It is excellent for vellum. It doesn't leave any stray powder. And then I heat embossed in white. And then I will use my Corinne brush markers to color up the images in shades of purples. And I used the darkest shades towards the centers of the leaves and the flower. And then I used some lighter shades going out towards the tips. And the lighter shades also where I thought would be the light would hit it. And I also use the blender brush, Corinne blender brush or blender marker for it, because to blend out the color and get it all smooth, because there's less moisture using the blender brush than if I were to use a paintbrush and water. So then you get less warping. If you use water with the vellum, then it's going to warp quite a bit more. So the blender brush cuts down on the amount of moisture. And I colored on the front of the vellum with the embossed images. So, and then I used I think 3 different shades of purples for the flowers, and then I think just a couple for the leaves. I did them in 2 different shades, so they're like 2 different types of leaves there. The ones with the lines down, the vein down the center, and then the ones that are a little more elongated, I did in a different shades of green. And I tried die cutting the smaller images out, and it didn't work, because once you have embossed your images, die cutting them out is a lot trickier, because it can ruin the embossing. So it didn't work, so I ended up fussy cutting it all out. And then I ended up, doesn't that look pretty? Look at those purples on the vellum. I love the way coloring looks on vellum, and I love that white edge of the embossing powder. So then I'm going to move on to my base. And to make the base, I'm using the Fiddlehead stencil, the new Fiddlehead stencil, and I'm going to dry emboss it. But first I'm going to mist it a little bit with a little bit of water, just a light mist, because that enables the stencil to get a deeper embossed images. And then I ran that through my die cutting machine using the sandwich for embossing. So there it is, deeply kind of etched in there. And then I'm going to cut that down to an A2 sized size panel, so 4¼ by 5½. And there, that is all done, 4¼ 5½. And then I use my friend die from the Scripty words, and I cut out the word 4 times. And then what I'll do is I'm going to emboss the very top friend, because I'll adhere them all together in a stack. And I'm going to die cut that top one. So I'll use my my embossing ink pad, and I'll use these reverse tweezers to hold it, because it's much easier to hold when you are, or much easier to emboss, heat up the word and the letter when you have it on tweezers. So then I heat it all up, and I just sped this up because it's a quite a long process to watch. And then I wait for that F to cool, and move on. And then I, do the same process and heat that up. And then again, I will melt the same white embossing powder as I used to emboss the flowers. And then I do the little, I can't remember what it's called, the little dot for the eye. And that's always trickier. And then I go back to my F and I get the part that I do it in a different, I hold it in a different location so that my whole F will be covered in embossing powder and there'll be no line. And same thing with the rest of the word friend. And I find that using a little pokey tool in one of the holes and heating it works really well. And then I'm again going back to the circle to get an even embossing layer on that. And again, those little circles are very tricky. All right, and then so with it all done, I end up, I think I had the 4, and I will adhere them all together in a stack, and that just creates dimension. So I use my, I'm using a Barely Arts glue. It's great for words, dies, and very detailed dies. So all in a little stack. And I will do them all. This is a really quick drying glue, and it also dries clear, so you cannot see if you end up, getting it anywhere on your card. It won't show up. So, and I think I had misplaced a little, well, maybe not, one of the little dots. So I think I dropped a dot, so I had to end up going and finding that little guy. And so here we go. Drop it a few times. Those little things are very tough to, like I was saying before, the little eyes and little dots and very small things are easy to lose and easy to drop. Okay, and then I will, there, found it. I'll get the 4th layer on there so that everything is at the same height. And then I adhere the word, well, I'll probably, I think what I do next is I adhere the base onto my card. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. Sorry. I adhered the fiddlehead embossed base on. And again, I just use that same glue. You can use whatever adhesive you prefer, what works best. And just get that on my top folding A2 white card base. And adhere that down nice and tight. And then I will adhere on my flowers. And I'm not sure if this glue shows through the vellum, so I tried just getting it on the areas where it was white embossed. So I tried to pick the thickest areas to put tiny bits of glue or tiny little lines of glue on there, and it's easy to do with this very fine point that comes with this glue. And then I adhere it on to the top left hand portion of my card. And like I said, this glue dries fairly quickly. And then I think there was a little part of the green foliage the green leaf that I had forgotten to, or I missed getting some stuff on, so I just added a little bit right at the tip there. And then I will adhere on my friend word on the bottom. And I like that kind of shiny white on the white background. I think that looks really pretty. And then you have the pop of colors as being the flowers. And that is just a beautiful, beautiful set from the Rabbit Hole Designs. It's just so pretty. And it works perfectly on an A2 size card, or, you know, I made another card where I colored 2 of them and I put it on a 5x7. So you can use it, and you can use it on slim lines. You know, the design team has a bunch of great inspiration. Some beautiful, beautiful cards. Okay, so that is all I've done, and I want to use the Friend stamp set. So I chose a You Mean the World to Me, and I stamped it on the inside using a purple colored ink to match the front flowers. Thanks for visiting. Please come back for more inspiration from our channel.